Most of us have eaten corn or bhutta. Bhutta, which is baked on coal fire and eaten. But there are other special varieties of corn which have been made, which is like baby corn, sweet corn, waxy corn, and popcorn. But scientists at the Indian agriculture universities and institutions have developed special varieties of maize which are biofortified. Biofortification meaning varieties which are higher or richer in vitamins, in minerals, and in special amino acids which help remove malnutrition. On this episode of Life and Science with Pallav Bagla, a close look at how scientists have developed special varieties of corn or maize which are supercharged with nutrients. Corn or maize is a very tall grass. One of the three most important cereals of India. These corn plants have been domesticated for the last 10,000 years. First, they were domesticated somewhere in Mexico. But today in India, Indian scientists are enhancing the value of corn. We have with us Dr. Feroz Hussain. Namaskar, Feroz. Dr. Hussain is a plant breeder who specializes on corn or maize and has been breeding corn for the last 20 years. Corn is a very special plant. Thanks a lot for finding time for us, and what a beautiful field and location in the Indian Agricultural Research Institute in New Delhi. Dr. Hussain, what is special about corn or maize?
Yeah, this maize is a hybrid maize. It is made because of the crossing of the two parents. We call it a single cross hybrid. And you can see it is much taller than me and you, more than 6 feet of height. And it is called a monoecious plant. That means it has got a male flower at the top, and this is the female flower at the bottom. This female flower leads to, finally, the corn grains which we eat. And this is called anemophilous. That means the pollen moves through the air and
So
it
wind
pollinates.
pollinated.
It's called wind pollinated. So it can fertilize any other plant nearby. It can also fertilize its own cob. And it takes around, depending upon maturity, from 90 days to 120 days in India. So we have early maturing maize, medium maturing maize, and late maturing maize.
Normally it is said maize is deficient in some proteins and in some vitamins. Tell me a little, why is maize deficient?
Maize grains has got 8 to 10% of protein, as normally we find in case of rice or maybe in wheat. But the quality of protein, actually protein is made up of 20 different amino acids. Out of 20, 9 amino acids are called essential amino acids that our body cannot synthesize. That has to be taken through outside food or maybe supplemented through diet. The normal maize has got half the requirement of lysine and tryptophan as required for human requirement. Now we have introgressed some genes to improve the protein quality. Here it is lysine and tryptophan, which has been enhanced to the level of double. Apart from that, we have also enhanced the vitamin A and vitamin E and other related traits to make it a biofortified maize. We are improving maize through breeding technologies only, through conventional breeding and using the natural available genes.
Dr. Hussain, when you added extra values into the existing traditional male plants, what have you done? Can you explain?
Yeah, this is a hybrid called Pusa HM4 improved. This hybrid was released in 2017, and here we have improved the level of lysine and tryptophan. And in India, we have around 5 agroecologies, and this has been released for northwestern plain zone. That means Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and western UP. If we move forward, we have another hybrid called Pusa HM9 improved. It was again released in 2017, and it was also enriched with lysine and tryptophan. And here I must mention, it is Dr. Wassal at CIMMYT who basically introduced this gene called OPEC2 and led to the birth of quality protein maize in 1980s. And because of his work, in 2000 he was awarded with World Food Prize along with Evelyn Villegas, who was a biochemist at CIMMYT. So we use that gene called OPEC2 to enhance lysine and tryptophan.
Dr. Hussain, what is special about this variety?
Yeah, variety is named as Pusa Vivek UPM9 improved, and it was released in 2017. And in fact, this is the first multi-nutrient rich maize hybrid where along with lysine and tryptophan, we have added vitamin A. We must mention we have white maize. White maize doesn't have any vitamin A. Yellow or orange maize, they do have vitamin A, but the level is very low, around 1 to 2 ppm. So we have introgressed 1 or 2 genes to enhance the vitamin A level to a level of almost 8 to 10 ppm. So this is world's first hybrid with vitamin A, lysine and tryptophan, and it has been released for northern hill zone and peninsular zone, and it comes under extra early maturity group.
And world first, there is no other variety like this.
There are varieties which are QPM alone, there are varieties which are vitamin A rich alone, but this is the first variety where both the lysine, tryptophan as well as vitamin A have been combined and comes out with this variety.
Excellent. So it reduces chances of malnutrition and also helps in reducing blindness. Correct?
Exactly.
Dr. Hussain, recently the Prime Minister released a bunch of varieties. In that, there were some maize varieties also. Was this one of them?
This variety is Pusa HQPM1 improved, and this variety has been dedicated to the nation by our Honorable Prime Minister on 28th of September. Now it is again a multi-nutrient rich variety having high vitamin A, lysine and tryptophan, and the beauty of this hybrid is this is adapted across the country. So it can be grown anywhere in the country and which will address not only the food security but also nutritional security along with that.
Also the leaves are very broad and seem green and rich.
Yeah, this also serves as a good fodder to the cattle. So that is an additional benefit. So it can also be used as one of the byproducts as fodder.
Not just vitamin A, you have also added other vitamins into corn. What are those, sir?
Yes, sir. Along with vitamin A, we have now added vitamin E. As you know, vitamin A is a very important component for growth and development, especially the neurological functions among the old people. And here...
And also for beauty, sir. A lot of women use vitamin E.
Right. So here, vitamin A, vitamin E, lysine and tryptophan, all 4 components have been added together. And this has been in the national trial this year. And I'm sure this hybrid with more multi-nutrient aspect into this will play a very important role for nutritional security.
Having seen some of the biofortified varieties, let us now see in the field how some of the breeding aspects are done and also take a look at different corn varieties. So what do you do in molecular breeding, sir?
Yeah, in molecular breeding, we basically identify the plants at the seedling stage.
That is what is happening right now.
Yes, the boys are fixing the leaf samples. We tag each of these plants, we isolate DNA, and within 7 or 10 days' time, we come to know which plant is desirable. Based on that, we pollinate only those plants and we forward or advance those plants. This drastically reduces the cost and resources which is otherwise required to maintain the entire plant population.
And this is not genetic modification.
No, this is not genetic modification. This is just an application of biotechnological tool in plant breeding.
Let's go and see other aspects. Dr. Hussain, what else do you do in the field? Can you show me what is happening here?
Yeah, in field actually we call it pollination. Pollination is a very important step in a maize breeding program. As mentioned earlier, it's a cross-pollinated crop. The male flower is at the top and the female flower is at the middle of the plant. So if we do not cover it, the female part, then the pollen from anywhere can come and contaminate the plant. So here what we do, once we take the pollen from the plant and put it on the same plant, we call it as selfing. Once we take the pollen and put it on the other genotype, we call it as crossing. So here what we have done, we have put the bags in the evening. By morning 8, 8:30 or 9 o'clock, the pollen will be accumulated with the sunlight coming up. And we take the pollen and put it on the, we'll remove the seal bag and put the pollen over it and we tussle it. And here we put a sign, this is a sign of selfing. So after 45 or 50 days, we'll have the grains ready, but it's a pure grain because the pollen from this plant has only pollinated this cob, not the pollen coming from any other plant.
And this is part of good old breeding in the field.
Exactly. This is one of the very, very important steps.
Let us now go and see some other aspects of maize breeding. We saw in the field maize plant which is highly biofortified. But to do that, many steps happen inside the laboratory. Dr. Hussain, what do we see in the laboratory and what is happening here?
To breed this biofortified maize, we take the help of molecular breeding, where we take the help of DNA science technology and we identify the plants at a seedling stage having the desirable genetic
Like you did in the field.
Like we did in the field. Once we collect the sample, we bring it to the lab.
What is happening here, sir?
We are isolating DNA from those leaf samples. And once the DNA is isolated using the liquid nitrogen, because it's an ultra low temperature where DNA doesn't degrade, and after a series of steps of grinding followed by centrifugation, we collect the DNA from each of these plant. Once this plant is DNA is available, then we go for polymerase chain reaction. Polymerase chain reaction is the one where we amplify a certain fraction of DNA to identify whether a gene is present or not. Based on the presence and absence of that gene in the plant, we then go for selection of this plant. So, sir, the reaction is now ready, and we are going to put this plate in thermocycler, that is the PCR machine, where a certain fragments of the DNA will be amplified. Once it is done, then we move to another section called electrophoresis. Under electrophoretic system, the amplified product will be run.
Or they are putting into those?
They are putting into those gel slots. It is blue in color so that it is easily viewed. And after a period of 2 to 3 hours, the bands will be separated. Once it is separated, then we'll go to gel documentation system where we view the actual image of those bands.
How much time does it take to run this?
It depends on the specific marker system we run. It may be from 1 hour to as high as 4 to 5 hours, depending upon the kind of marker we use.
Let's go and see the final gels.
Right.
What can we see here?
Sir, the DNA amplicons which we have run using electrophoresis, we see it under gel documentation system. Here we see there are different sized bands, and based on the size of the bands, we select the plants having the desirable gene combination. And that is the basis of selection using molecular breeding.
So this is the essence of molecular breeding?
Yes, exactly. The steps which we have seen so far, we could not view it. Here we can view the different size bands, and based on the size of the bands, we select the plants with desirable genetic constitution. Once it is done, our next and final step is to characterize the plants for the nutritional quality,
Let's go
for which we run it in the HPLC system.
What is this machine, Dr. Hussain, and what do you do in this?
Yeah, here the carotenoids which were in the maize grain we have extracted here. And so once the extraction is over, We then load these samples in high performance liquid chromatography system.
Oh, inside there.
Inside that, and after a run time of around 30-35 minutes, we fractionate the carotenoids into different vitamin A components like alpha carotene, beta carotene, and beta cryptoxanthin. And based on the peak area, we decide which plant has got the more vitamin A, and those plants are selected finally for our hybrid breeding program.
Dr. Hussain, maize is very tasty, but there is so much complexity which goes into the maize which we eat. Molecular breeding is not a simple process. There are many steps in the wet laboratory and there are many high-end equipments which are used. But end of the day, what matters is the cobs, the corn on cob. That is the product. And let's go into the field, Dr. Hussain, to see some of that.
Yeah.
We saw how molecular breeding is done in the laboratory. Now let's take a look at some of the final varieties of different types of corn. Baby corn, sweet corn, popcorn, and other varieties. Dr. Hussain, what is this variety and what is special about this?
Yeah, this variety is a baby corn variety. We all know that baby corn is nothing but unfertilized cob, and it is harvested during flowering time. So roughly around 60 days or 65 days this baby corn is harvested. Now in a baby corn process, this removal of the male flowering is very important. Otherwise the pollen coming from here and fertilizing this developing ear will cause the deterioration of the quality. Because if the grain starts forming, the baby corn quality will reduce. That's the reason why we have to invest 8 to 10,000 rupees per hectare for removal of this tassel in a field.
So have you developed this male sterile variety just
Exactly.
for that?
We have developed this male sterile variety and we named it as Pusa HM4 male sterile baby corn and also named as Shishu. Shishu means baby. And this variety has been dedicated by our Honorable Prime Minister on 28th of September. Now the advantage of this baby corn variety is it is male sterile, so we are saving 8 to 10,000 rupees per hectare. And it has also having 15 to 20% more yield. And third important point is the green fodder. After the harvest of baby corn, the fodder will be used for the cattle. But since the baby corn in the male fertile plant, honeybees will visit and there is a fungal growth will be there. That will deteriorate the fodder quality. But here you see the leaves are extremely clean. So the fodder quality is much better.
So it is a much better suited variety for the field.
Exactly.
All right.
So after this baby corn, I'll take you to another version called popcorn. So let's go to the popcorn field. So sir, we are here in the popcorn field. Okay. So it's a popcorn hybrid. It is in the advanced varietal trial under national testing. And this hybrid is very good as far as the popping quality is concerned. We know that when the grains are dried up and once it is heated up, it bursts and gives the pop. And you know, in cinema hall and malls, popcorn is one of the very, very famous commodity nowadays.
Hey, I'm told it's more than a $2 billion industry around the world.
Exactly. And it generates a whole lot of money and livelihood for several millions of people around the world.
And we are developing our own varieties on popcorn.
These is our indigenously developed hybrids having the higher popping quality as well as yield.
And they are tasty?
They're extremely tasty.
Let's go and see others.
Yeah, we let him go.
What is happening here, sir?
So this is our newly derived waxy corn hybrid. It is in our pipeline and will be shortly testing under the national trial.
But why is it called waxy corn?
Yeah, there is a gene called waxy. And in fact, in a maize, we have around 30% amylose and 70% amylopectin. But if you go to the northeast, they like sticky rice, they like sticky maize. Okay. And that stickiness comes from the high amylopectin. So here, almost 98 to 99% of the starch is amylopectin. And because of the higher amylopectin, it is liked as a food in the Northeast. It has got tremendous industrial value because amylopectin is used in adhesive, textile, and paper industries. It is also one of the important factors for the bodybuilding industries.
Bodybuilding.
Exactly. When a person does this weightlifting and all, after that their glycogen level depletes sharply. So one has to take this amylopectin powder, put it in water, and drink it quickly. So the glycogen is replenished very, very quickly.
Yes.
And another important point is it has got higher bioethanol production as compared to the traditional maize.
Because bioethanol is also one of the important parts of growing corn. May not be in India just now, but it is catching up.
It is catching up because now that 5% blending has been given a new target of 20% blending with the petrol. So therefore this ethanol has to come from several crops. So maize could be one of the very important crops for the supply of ethanol to this industry.
So we could soon have cars running on bhutta and corn.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at other things.
Yeah, please. So, sir, this is the new hybrid which we have developed, and it has got higher bioavailability of iron and zinc. Iron and zinc is one of the very important micronutrients required for the body growth and development. But bioavailability means how much it is absorbed in our human gut. So the bioavailability of iron is only 5%, and zinc is somewhere around 20 to 25%. And the reason is the phytic acid. So here we have reduced the phytic acid by 30 to 40%. Thereby, there is an increase in bioavailability of iron and zinc. And it is also been clubbed with high provitamin A, lysine, and tryptophan.
So this is all in one. Can you also explain to me very briefly what biofortification does and how is it beneficial for humans?
Biofortification essentially provides the nutrition grains to the humans as well as to the animals like poultry and piggery. So we get these nutrients in a natural form along with the food. So there is no need of addition to the food as it is being done in food fortification or maybe in medical supplementation. And this biofortified food, once we consume as human, it gives a better balanced diet. So our growth and development is much better. Once it is fed to the poultry industry, maize being one of the important components of feed, the biofortified feed provides better growth. It also provides better egg production, and it also reduces the cost of feed. And this part is sustainable and cost effective because it doesn't require any kind of infrastructure or distribution system, and it, along with the food, the nutrition comes in our body. That's how it plays a very important role in alleviating malnutrition in India as well as around the world.
Let's take a look at other things.
So, sir, this is a sweet corn hybrid. We named it as Pusa Super Sweet Corn 2, and it was released in 2020. And it has got higher sweetness as compared to the field corn or the traditional corn. Sweet corn is harvested around 20 to 22 days after flowering is over. And after the harvest of sweet corn, the green part is used as cattle feed. And nowadays very, very popular as well in malls or cinema halls in various snacks
Also,
form.
can it be eaten raw?
It can be eaten raw. And why don't you try some of our sweet corn?
Shall I try?
Yeah, yes, sure. This could be one
All
of the...
right. Let me try this one. Grain looks very beautiful.
Yeah, it's very sweet also.
Wow. It is indeed very sweet. First time I'm eating raw corn like this, plucked from the field, as fresh as it could be. And it is really tasting very nice.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for explaining to us the nuances of breeding maize.
Thank you very much.
Maize in India is the third most important crop. But you would be surprised to know these golden grains which you see in my hand, today in the world, maize has overtaken the production of rice and wheat. In India, maize is still gaining ground. But biofortification of maize to make it nutritionally superior is a very important step. And scientists at the Indian Agricultural Research Institute have developed several varieties which are rich in minerals, in vitamins, and in specific amino acids. Biofortification of corn to remove malnutrition in India. What a beautiful and lovely way of removing malnutrition using natural means. Keep watching India Science.